If we look at some of the robots that have been, like if we look at Pepper, for example.
SoftBank's Pepper. Yeah.
So, I mean, awesome that they got out there, relatively early and launched that product. But at the same time, for some of the users, people were just not really able to work out what the benefit of that. In the end, it probably has a bit more to go in terms of its development until, we can say that it's like a truly human-centric device.
I have a question. So Japan has long history of robotics industry. For example, even anime, Doraemon or Astro Boy. Yes. So robotics industry, robotics company will help our age problem. What do you think?
Absolutely. It's interesting in Japan, like Westerners are a little bit scared of robots. There's a little bit of a dystopian element to the way that Westerners look at robotics. And I think people look at that and they get a little bit frightened. They go, wow, like we're losing our authority over our own lives and robots will take over and it's going to be scary and they might kill us. But I don't think Japanese suffer from that. I think there's much more positivity around tech. Culturally, people are more open to being assisted by robots, but the standard is very high in terms of like areas where most people are open to having robots work with them. Ideally, it has to be better than a human experience. So people still prefer to interact with people. So we've got to, if we want robots to fulfill their potential, we have to be very, very sensitive to the way that people's emotions especially are extremely important. So it's not just about solving practical issues. Like people will grow to hate machines that don't really please you in a way. Yeah, I agree. So, what can I say? This 2 years, kind of age of AI, right? So we already have robotics in Japan, and then they really want to combine artificial intelligence because of, as you mentioned, if you have like a home robot, we want to interact, right? So we have expectation to robot can see our face. Oh, Kaori is maybe she want to find Coke, or she want to go to toilet, restroom, or maybe guess my feeling. Yes, and I think the more pleasant that is, and the more sort of it can touch our heart. I think people are open to working with machines in that way. But, that does require a lot of understanding of people's emotions and their needs and so forth. So if we look at some of the robots that have been, like if we look at Pepper, for example.
SoftBank's Pepper. Yeah.
So, I mean, awesome that they got out there, relatively early and launched that product. But at the same time, for some of the users, people were just not really able to work out what the benefit of that robot was. And so in the end, it probably has a bit more to go in terms of its development until, we can say that it's like a truly human-centric device.
I see. Thank you so much. Okay, let's deep dive into your next milestone. So it's already end of year, right? So by the way, how was your 2024?
It was very busy, and it was very exciting in a way. I think we made a lot of progress on our age tech business, whilst we were working very hard on our current projects. Next year, we're launching our first age-related innovation in Japan, which is a Canadian product called Comfort Linen. And this is not a digital product. This is actually fiber tech.
Fibertech.
So
What is it?
It's the technology of fibers and how they actually interact with each other. So I had no idea. However, if you suffer from something like Parkinson's disease, for example, it's very hard to move in bed. But even as we get older, we just have a little bit less power to kind of wriggle around in bed and move. And so there's a very accomplished lady in Canada called Nancy McGovern who she developed like a sheet and pajama system. So the pajamas are designed to work with the sheet so that you slide much more easily over the sheet, and we put that product in home trials, and the response was just fantastic to that. So people, just even if they didn't have anything as severe as Parkinson's, their sleep was so much improved. So that's our first project that we've taken from getting the basic user insights and understanding how attractive this idea is to the user trial to actually basically facilitating commerce for this product. And we have more on the way, but our first launch will be I think in March.
March, cool.
So yes, I'm pushing everyone on the project kind of hard to sort of get to that point. But that's really exciting. And then we have more projects on the way that we've also basically used the insights from user research and user experience work to work out what's going to be a great project, and then how can we optimize that, and then how can we get that in the market into Japan. And we want to do that in both directions. So we want to find great ideas and great tech and great innovation that we can take from Japan to North America as well. Ooh. So there's lots and lots and lots going to be going on next year in that area.
Okay, so you may launch your branch office in North America?
It could very well happen. Yes. We're talking about Canada at the moment. There's a lot of interest in Canada, but of course I do have a very dear colleague who lives in Austin, Texas as well, and we are involved in the American Association of Retired People's Age Tech collective project as well. So we're looking at all of North America, of course. And that's super exciting because I think there's lots of raw innovation in Japan that we can. I think using good user work, we can sort of take that raw technology or that raw idea and turn it into something that people are really going to want to use, and for me that's really what it's all about. And I think that we need to. I'm sure you'd agree with me. We need to really work with users very closely. It's a partnership, essentially. It really is not the case where you can just make something and just say, yep, this is going to be good for you. So I've decided this is going to be great for you, and then you expect people to kind of cooperate. That's not really how it works with aging adults. So, yeah.
How about your private in 2025? Something to-do list or whatever? Wish list?
Well, my wish list is I actually want to spend a little bit more time outside of Japan in 2025. So
For example?
Well, I'm thinking Canada would be an interesting place to spend some time in North America. I love Hawaii. I'm like a very good Japanese, actually, because I love going to Hawaii. But yes, I'm looking to, meet more people outside of the Japanese market. So we've been working really hard for the last couple of years, meeting people and around our projects. But I'd love to go and just experience another country and meet new people.
Okay, so Dom, you love people, right? I think.
Yes.
So next year, you and your company is going to kind of scale up. That's why you want to observe outside of Japan, correct?
That's right. Yeah. I really want to meet like-minded people, people that have the same sort of passion for the user that we do, and also have a bit of excitement around the vision for age tech and that whole area of aging. Just I think it's a really, really exciting area that we're just starting to realize what the potential of that is. So.
Yeah, totally agree. Yes, it's important. By the way, so when I am in San Francisco, I often asked from people why Okinawa. Of course, entire Japan has like a kind of long life than other countries, but Okinawa has like a what can I say, longest 寿命?
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
So have you ever been to Okinawa?
I love Okinawa.
You love Okinawa?
Yeah, I go there quite often. And I want to say it's the awamori, which is there. Like,
Awamori is a, what can I say, kind of not sake.
it's like a bit of a shochu style drink, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah, no, I love awamori. So, I'd like, maybe it's the awamori or, I think they have a very, very healthy natural diet as well and stay very active and probably in many ways have a very good attitude because, our attitude, I think, has a lot to do with how long we live. We have to have something to live for. And, Japanese are long living all across the country. And there's a concept, as you know, called Ikigai.
Ikigai.
And, Ikigai is such an interesting kind of idea. It's this reason why we get up in the morning. And it can be very, modest thing too. It doesn't have to be often as Westerners, we have these really big ideas, I'm going to make an impact on the world, and that's great that people want to do that. But in Japan, the value of your life and your reason to get up in the morning doesn't have to be really huge. It could be. So I think of these people at the ramen shop who are still, dipping the noodles in and out of the water in the early 80s, or they're in the Chinese food shop and the flame, they're doing the fried rice and the flames are coming up and they might be hunched over, but yeah, they work every day, and for those people, their work is their ikigai or their purpose. But it could be you just like bonsai, or you have a pet, or whatever it is. It can be a really modest thing, but also we have learned that the people who are most likely to want to engage with assistive technology as they age are people that have high ikigai. So if we're purposeful and we have something to live for, we want to make that life as enjoyable and sort of still have as much potential as possible. So these are the people that actually, in a sense, it's kind of people that sometimes maybe least need it. Are the most interested. But yeah, so having a positive attitude is really important to live long, but also the people that we are really going to have the most success with age tech are going to be the people that have really positive attitudes and have purpose and whatever. So we want to, we're working on finding those people. We're gathering as many of those people as we can into our community.
Okay, so last question. So speaking of Ikigai, it's kind of purpose of our living or passion. So my Ikigai is this, interviewing people. Yeah, I really love it. And thanks to almost all everyday posting podcast episodes, it became a kind of community, and I love to utilize interviewing. I want to make people shinier, and then making kind of, what can I say, superstar or supernova. This is my Ikigai. So I don't regret if I die today. So how about your Ikigai?
My Ikigai, yeah, I think my Ikigai really relates to what I'm doing with this whole aging project as well. And that's very people driven as well. I mean, why I became a researcher is because I'm just interested in people. I was always interested in people's motivations, essentially, and how, earlier on in my career, yes, it was about how we can actually motivate them to buy this versus that. Like that is what we do in market research. I did a lot of work in advertising and communications, which is fascinating. But over time, I really want to make sure that we use those skills that we have in insights to produce better outcomes for people, because there's a very important social role, I think, for market research and consumer insights, and that's giving people a voice. So most people have no voice on anything that impacts their lives. So where we have these powerful, we have governments, we have these powerful corporations, they're all acting on us. And it's very seldom that we actually have the opportunity to have an impact on that. So while you may look at saying, yes, if we're a company working and doing market research and user interviews, maybe that's easier to sell to people. I understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. But it also means that we've produced product that actually is more appropriate for people and adds more value to their lives. And that's a role that researchers have. We facilitate the only opportunity that most people will ever have to have an impact. So I think it's really, really important, and that's what keeps me going. I just always advocating for the user and the consumer, and this area of aging tech, I think, is really probably the most important one for us, because we have, especially in this country, we have such an aging population. And I'm aging too. You wake up one day and where did all that time go? But in fact, actually in Japan, I just turned 50 this year. Half the population is older than I am. Yeah. So I'm not old in Japan. But I think that is, everyone would agree, most people in Japan would agree that this is the most important issue. So I want to make sure that we give people a voice. Especially older people can end up in such unfortunate circumstances where they really lose control of their lives and they're not listened to. And I really want to make sure that we minimize that as much as possible. Give people, some power over their lives even as they're aging.
I see. So beautiful and super important mission. Amazing. Yeah, it's like your mission is everyone's mission. Super important. Thank you so much for your amazing wisdom. So lastly, if people, our audience, want to reach out to you, so which medium is best of?
LinkedIn probably is good. Just, I think you write Dominic Carter Japan and you'll get to me very fast. So
okay, thank you so much. Okay, bye bye. Perfect. The 3 key takeaways from the conversation with Dom, part 2. 1. Japanese robotics and emotional connection. Dom explained how Japan's cultural icons like Astro Boy and Doraemon inspire positive views of robotics. However, he notes the struggle of robots like SoftBank's Pepper, which lacked emotional resonance and clear particular benefits. For robots to thrive in Japan, they must address practical needs and connect emotionally, recognize user intentions, and enhancing daily life experience. 2. Ikigai, the Japanese philosophy of purpose. Dom highlighted Ikigai, a deeply ingrained concept in Japan, where even modest daily routines can process a sense of purpose. Examples including ramen shop workers in their 80s and bonsai enthusiasts, finding fulfillment in their hobbies. Dom emphasized how Ikigai influenced the aging population's openness to assistive technologies, with those having a strong purpose being more likely to adapt a tool that enhance their quality of life. Okay, 3. Ikigai in action. Kaori and Dom's shared vision. Both Kaori and Dom align their Ikigai with creating meaningful connection through their work. Kaori's passion for interviewing and building a community shines in her efforts to highlight others' stories, while Dom's Ikigai centers on empowering older adults through user-driven aging tech. Together, they champion the belief that understanding and amplifying individual Ikigai can lead to impactful innovation for society. Okay, thank you so much for watching our episode today. If you like it, please subscribe our podcast and give you a like. Okay, thank you so much. Bye bye. またね。